AYA, Acts 15 and 16 today. By the way, happy Sunday. I'll see you there, 8 a.m. if you're there today. But Acts 15 and 16, so Holy Spirit is at work. It's better than any Hollywood movie. If you're reading through these chapters, I don't know how you can help but be inspired by what's happening here, by seeing what's happening in these people's lives who have given themselves totally to the work of Jesus by the power of the Holy Spirit. Pentecost happened. The Holy Spirit has been poured out on all flesh, and now we get to see the results. We get to see what's happening in all of these stories. So a couple of them to point out. One in 15 was the Jerusalem Council. The Gentiles are pretty excited when they find out that they don't have to be circumcised. I know. I mean, I'd be pretty excited too. So the Jerusalem Council was a bunch of Pharisees and Jewish leaders who were deciding, what do we do with these new converts? They should be circumcised. And Peter basically stands up and says, no, they shouldn't. They shouldn't be circumcised because God has not required that. Why would we put this burden on them? So no. So there's a letter written to these new converts, these new Gentile converts to Christianity, basically telling them, no, you don't have to be circumcised, that you are purchased with the same blood as the Jews. You are welcomed into the same kingdom, and it's by the power of the Spirit, like everything else, that you are welcomed in and that you get to be part of this family. So you don't have to be circumcised. Good news. In chapter 16 is one of my favorites for right now. I mean, there's a lot of good stories and a lot of good things to be your favorite, but the story of the jailer. Paul and Silas are in jail. And earthquake happens, another miracle. Earthquake happens, the gates flung open, the shackles off their wrist, and they can go. And it's dark, and the jailer doesn't know what's happening. And he is beside himself, but Paul calms him down and says, hey, listen, we're still here. We didn't leave. Because if they were to leave, that's just a death sentence for this jailer, because the guys he was in charge of, his prisoners, have escaped. Death for him. But no, salvation for him. See, that's what happens with the Lord. He turns death, certain death, and our fear of it into salvation and life. And that's what happens. This is what we get to be a part of if we choose the same life that Paul and Silas and so many along with them, and what we're seeing in Acts, if we choose the same thing. And this just gets me excited to see this story, because not only is the jailer converted and baptized, his whole family is converted. And what a thing to be part of for you and me if we choose the same life that we see these early church missionaries and planters and members want. They just want nothing but Jesus. They want nothing but to see the church grow and to spread the word and to live in the word. Acts 2:42 is a great example of that. But this early church is so inspiring to me because they were so on fire with the Spirit, doing all these works. What a wonderful thing to be part of, to see conversion stories and be a part of conversion stories and be used by, as a vessel, used by the Holy Spirit in these conversion stories of seeing people come to Christ, and not only come to Christ, but be baptized and their whole families coming to Christ. That's what we want to be a part of. So let's continue moving towards that. Let's continue diving in and just pulling apart these chapters and Acts and seeing what the Lord is doing, not only then, but what he wants to do today too, with me and you. I can think of nothing better in my life to be used for things like that. So there's your inspiration today, coming from Acts, not from me, just to get into it, get involved. Tell the Lord, I want to activate my faith. I want the Spirit to work through me. And part of that is knowing the Word. So read through the Bible with us, know the Word, stick with it, and the Lord will do mighty things in your life. All right, YA, enjoy your Sunday.